Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Uncanny Spirits Club. It's your buddy Spider once again, and I have something interesting that I thought was something completely new, and maybe it still is, but I thought it was completely different when I first picked it up. And when I got home, I started to think, is this something I've done before? And I looked it up, and it isn't, but it's very similar. I think, judging by what it's supposed to look like. So, in the grocery store today, and you may remember way back, I don't remember what episode it was. I was just looking at it, and I should have probably recorded the episode in my brain here. Oh, hold on. I was just watching it, so I can look at my history and I can see what it was. History. That's not it. Well, that just brings up the playlist that doesn't show what I just watched. Whatever. But a while back, in one of my earlier videos, I did a comparison between four different Jim Beam non-standard, non-traditional bourbons. One was a rye, and the other three were bourbons. I did the Devil's Cut. I did the rye. Maybe it was three. The Devil's Cut, the rye. I feel like there's another one, and then one that's similar to what I'm going to talk about today. Maybe it was only three of them. I thought it was four. But one of them I tried was the Jim Beam Black Extra Aged, and that was $23.99. It was um, it was 86 proof, and it was aged for I think around 8 years because the standard Jim Beam is usually aged around 4 years, and according to online, the extra aged was aged for double that, which would make it about 8. I was in the grocery store today, and I found this Jim Beam Black aged 7 years. It is 90 proof, and it is $26.99 here in Ohio. And I wondered, in retrospect, once I got home, is this just the same thing? Has it been aged less? Or is it a new thing, slightly different expression, aged less, but also aged or bottled at a higher proof? Is it still the same black that I had before? I think it's different. I think it's going to be different, but I don't know how the taste is going to be. It says at the top, mellow notes of smooth golden caramel, rich oak, and vanilla. Okay. And so I'm looking forward to seeing if I'd have thought about it. It was far too late to go back to the store and see if the extra aged, the original one that I had before, was still there to compare the two. But we're going to see if this one stacks up against my memory. It is a little bit more expensive by about $3, and it is higher proof though. So we're going to take a look. It is a screw top cap, not a cork, which is pretty typical for a lot of Jim Beam stuff. Take a sniff first. Smells very oaky. Very oaky. Heavy wood smell. Very heavy. Very heavy wood smell. So I'm going to pour that into my fancy glass today. I got a Glencairn. I have my normal glass, but I was drinking some of the Lafroig from the last video out of that. I didn't want to cross-contaminate, and I didn't want to have to rinse it out and end up getting some sink water in here. Even if it was only a couple drops, I don't want to spoil it. So it's a nice, rich auburn bourbon color, which is pretty typical of Jim Beam. Very oaky. Like, just about all I'm smelling is oak. Yeah, I'm just getting a bunch of wood. No jokes. I'm not getting any wood. Not my persuasion. If that is for you, that's okay though. You're allowed to persuade that way. I guess. I don't know. It's all equality here. Just that's not what I'm into. Tangent. Anyway, very oaky. Can't smell anything else but oak. So we're gonna give this a try. See what happens. Jim Beam Black, aged 7 years, 90 proof. And it tastes like a stronger Jim Beam with a couple of bright notes in there. A couple of creamy notes in there, but mostly it just tastes like a stronger standard Jim Beam. You've got that patented kind of numbness that it attacks your tongue with, which is different from the Lefroy from the last video. That was like a sharp stabbing from the peat. This is something. Jim Beam and Jack Daniels are both known for a particular. It's like Coke and Pepsi. Okay, Jack Daniels is like Coke, kind of harsh on the tongue. Pepsi is kind of smoother, but a little sweeter, but still a very similar cola sensation. Yeah, it just tastes like Jim Beam, only stronger. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. If you're a big fan of Jim Beam, you're not going to see that as something that's going to turn you away. But it hasn't had a whole lot of different things going on with it to really change the landscape, so to speak. Let's have a second one, now that the first one has adjusted our palate. And the oak really comes through on the second one. The oak taste really settles onto the tongue. So this tastes a lot like the barrel it came out of. And the barrel doesn't seem to have had a whole lot going on with it. It must have been a new American oak barrel. It must not have had much in the way of char or any sort of other long-term flavors. Because it tastes like Jim Beam with a lot more oak and a bit stronger. It's not all that great, in my opinion, to be honest, compared to the other Jim Beam expressions that I've had. I liked the extra aged Jim Beam Black from before, the 86 proof. And I like the Devil's Cut. I liked both of those. They tasted different enough that they had something else going on. The extra aged in particular had different flavor profiles going on. And that one, I'm assuming, based on what it says on the information I found online, that was for an extra year past this. But I think they must have done something different with the barrel or with some other part of the process leading up to that, because again, it was 86 proof, and there was more flavor to that one. This one's at 90 proof, which is not too far from 86. You wouldn't think there'd be a huge difference. Sometimes there is, though. Sometimes the difference between the 80s and the 90s, even just by 4 points, is a big difference. And all I'm really getting is just the oak taste. I'm getting that signature Jim Beam kind of flavor in the background, but that oak taste is taking over everything. And while it's not particularly an unpleasant taste, it's not something that makes me really excited about it. It's not giving me anything new. I have other things in this price point that I could get that do more exciting things for me. You know, they taste different, they taste better or worse. Even some of the stuff that tastes worse at least tastes more interesting. This isn't really doing anything. It just tastes like the barrel. It tastes like I took a straw and just like sucked up the moisture out of the barrel after they dumped the whiskey out and just sucked it up like it was a sponge. And just, I don't know. It's not doing it for me. But it's not the worst thing I've ever had, and I'm not unhappy that I got it. It's just not something that I think I'm gonna enjoy as much as I would other things, and I don't know. I probably won't get it again, to be honest. It might be a good mixer. It might mix with Coke or Pepsi or something like that, some other kind of cola, whatever your brand of cola you choose. I'm not endorsed or endorsing any of those guys. Please don't sue me. I'm already being sued by somebody. I don't need to be sued by somebody else. But that's a long story. That's a whole separate deal. Now people are going to wonder, oh, he planted this seed. There's something going on. It's okay. It's all taken care of. It's not a big deal. But yeah, other than maybe as a mixer, I don't know. Not really feeling it. Not really feeling it. I mean, the 90 proof is kind of nice. It is kind of going straight up already. I'm already feeling like, ooh, yeah, there's some strength to that alcohol. But I don't drink things purely for the buzz that I get from it. That's a nice side effect if it coincides well with the flavor and with the other attributes. Like if it gives you the warming sensation, or it, if it brings the nostalgia, or if it does something for you, the alcohol feeling is just a little bit nice on top of that. I don't like to drink purely for that alcohol feeling, because if that was the case, I would just drink cheap alcohol all the time that came in plastic bottles and I wouldn't care. I would just drink Budweiser or something and just, but I like to think I'm a little bit more refined than all that, and that the alcohol feeling is just a nice little extra bit that you get on top of the flavor and everything else that goes along with being a whiskey drinker or a spirits drinker in general. Because there are vodkas and gins and tequilas and cognacs and other things that are perfectly good without buying them just to get yourself wasted. You know what I mean? If that's what you like to do, if you like to just drink just to get wasted and that's it, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, as long as you're not out driving and smashing into people or messing up other people's lives, hey, I'm not here to judge. I just don't do that myself. I would rather I drink as an experience, as an all around thing, rather than simply to be drunk. Because I think there's more to alcohol than just to get yourself drunk. I think there's many, many layers of levels and things in between there that you can enjoy before you go from stone-faced sober, stone-faced sober, because I was thinking stone-faced sober to sloppy drunk. There's good levels in between where you can comfortably sit without causing other people misery or yourself misery or damaging your health and that kind of stuff. Off my high horse, off my soapbox. Let me step down. Back to this. So this is okay. It's not great though. Not for me. If you like just the taste of the barrel, then by all means, $26.99. Jim Beam Black, aged 7 years, 90 proof. If you prefer a little bit more definition and a little bit more character to your spirits, then this might not be for you. But just because I didn't really care for it doesn't mean that someone else won't. And as always, I don't review these to try to turn people away from things or to tell people, yeah, this just sucks, don't buy it. I don't do that. I don't do the boycott thing. I'm not into that because just because I don't like it, plenty of other people probably are going to like it. So no insults intended towards Jim Beam as a distillery or towards this as a product. I'm one guy who happen to have a YouTube channel that's watched by a few people, by 1,000 plus people. I could just rub that in a little bit. I'm doing okay over here. But yeah, $26.99 for the Jim Beam Black, aged 7 years here in Ohio. That's Ohio supermarket prices. Let me know if you've tried this before, if you like it, if you don't like it. What do you think? Tell me if I'm way off base or if I'm right on the money. Or if you have suggestions for different things to make this into a cocktail that would be really delicious, send those recipes my way. I'd love to hear them. Give me a comment on YouTube. That's where this video is going to be. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel, Spider Does Things. You should. Lots of good things going on there. I got these videos, I got gaming videos, I got food videos. I have a lot of videos. I have everything. I have everything you might want. This is not a dating approach. I'm not trying to date you. Okay? It's not the dating game. I'm not hyping myself up for that. I'm just saying there's a lot of good stuff on my channel, so go do that. Subscribe, watch the videos, drop some likes, and let me know if you've tried this and if you like it. And if you don't, tell me about it. I want to hear from you. That's it. That's all I got for you. Until next time, as always, from the Uncanny Spirits Club.